Hi and welcome to another video for Year 9 Maths D under the chapter Arithmetics, but still we're going to deal with time, but right now you are going to deal with what we call time zone. So time zone is really closely related to what we call local time. So here this is going to be dealing with the time difference between places or two countries that are far from each other. But first we are going to calculate time written as decimal, and we are going to convert between hour and hours and minutes. So let's start here. This is how you do convert times between hours to minutes. So they can see over here, from hour to minute is multiplication, and from minute to second is multiplication by 60. So when you do the reverse, you have to divide second by 60 to get the minute, and divide the minute by 60 to get the hour. So let's start with the first example. So example number 1 here, write 16.36 hours in hours and minutes correct to the nearest minute. So here you will have an answer for minute that is going to be having decimal, so later. Okay, so here you have to know that 15.36 hour, you can split this up into 15 plus 0.36. Now 0.36 is actually the minute portion of the hour, so you already have 15 hour, but here 0.36 hour, you have to convert it into minute by multiplying it by 60. So when you multiply this by 60, so 0 over here, 36, and 18 plus 3 is 19, 20, 21, and then 2 over here, so 0 times 6 is 0, plus 2 is 2. So here your answer will be 15 hour, and then you will have 21.6 minutes. But your question specified that you have to convert this to the correct to the nearest minute, so you will be having 15 hour 22 minutes. Okay, so that's the first example. Now for the next example, and example number 2, you are going to look at here. So 4 students took the following times to complete a school task. One student takes 70 minutes, one student takes 1.25 hours, one student takes 1 hour 40 minutes, and one student took 1.2 hours. So the instruction here is by expressing this time in hour. So after you express the times in hour, you have to arrange them in order of size, starting with the smallest. Now the good tip over here, and you can leave your decimal when you convert hours later in 3 significant figures. So let's start with the first digits. The first digit that you have here is 70 minutes. Now to convert 70 minutes, you have to divide 70 by 60. Now here, when you use a calculator, you will get something like 1.1666. So this is actually 1.17 correct to the nearest 3 significant figure. So that's the first one. Okay, next one is 1.25 hour. So this one is actually 1 plus 1/4, and okay, by the instinct of 1/4, you should have, when you convert it, it will become 1.25 hour. Okay, next one is 1 hour 14 minutes. Now here, all you have to focus on is on the 14 minutes. So the 14 minutes later, it will be changed into hour by dividing 14 by 60. So when you try to use the calculator, so here let's make it smaller first, 7 out of 30. So 7 out of 30, it is 0.23333. So you will have as your answer 1 hour plus 0.233. It will be 1.23 hour. So that's the third one. And lastly, it is already 1.2 hour. So what you're going to do is to arrange them according to the order of size. So here, let's see which one is the smallest one. The smallest one will be this one. So here I will label number 1 first. Okay, and then next one is to have a look at the next number that is bigger than 1.7. According to the order, it is 1.2 hour. Okay, next one, 1.23 hour. And lastly, this is the fourth one. So your answer here, when you arrange them, it will be back to the original, which is the first digit is 1.17 hour. This is 70 minutes. Okay, I will just use mens. All right, and the next one is 1.2 hour. Okay, and the next one will be 1.23 hour, which is actually 1 hour, 14 minutes. And last but not least, 1.25 hour, which is 1.25 hour. Okay, so that's for the second example. Now here, this is an expect on converting hours and hours and minutes written as decimal. So next one, it will be about time zone. So the time zone, it is related to when you are in different country. The time of day will vary. So there is a difference between two countries in terms of the time. So for example here, if the local time is 1100 in Islamabad, Pakistan, the local time is 1700 in Sydney, Australia. So we can say that Sydney is 6 hours ahead Islamabad, or if you're talking in terms of Islamabad, it is actually 6 hours behind Sydney. So the time difference is 6 hours. So let's have a look at the first example. Here you have to be quite careful here because, okay, let's see here. An aircraft leaves Dubai at 8:55 local time and it flies to Tokyo. So you have two different places over here. So let's write Dubai and Tokyo. All right. And the flight takes 9 hours, 25 minutes. So that's the duration for the flight. Okay, now the information for the next one is local time in Tokyo is 5 hours ahead. So when you say about 5 hours ahead, it is actually plus 5 hour. Okay, so what is the local time in Tokyo when the aircraft lands? So here you have to first consider the landing time in terms of Dubai local time, and then once you have the answer, you will change into Tokyo local time. This is for easy calculation. So let's start. You are flying from Dubai at 08:55. So the flight will take 9 hour 25 minutes. So when you try to sum this up, 55, 25, okay, let's separate them in terms of hours and minutes. So this section, it will be about minutes. So 55 plus 25 will become 90. And 08 plus 9, it will be 17, okay? So 1790, it doesn't exist. So what we're going to do is 90 minutes. You have to convert a part of it into an hour. So you have to subtract 60. And the 60 minutes will go into the hour part. So it will become, see here, 90 minus 60, it will be 30. And in hour, it is 17 plus 1 is 18. Alright, so this is talking in terms of Dubai local time, but you have to find the local time when the aircraft lands in Tokyo. So what you're going to do is you take the landing time when you talk about Dubai, okay, which is 18:30, but you have to add 5 hours because it is 5 hours away ahead from Dubai. So what you're going to do is you just add like usual. 30 plus 0 is 30, and then 18 plus 5, it will be 23. So this time is exists. So the local time in Tokyo will be 2330, or you can say it is 11:30 p.m. in Tokyo. Right, so that's for the third example. Now for the last one here, okay, let's see here. Example number 4, when it is 1200 in London, the time in Brunei Darussalam is 1900 on the same day. So you can say that here Brunei Darussalam is 7 hours ahead London, or London is 7 hours behind Brunei Darussalam. So it will depend on the question that you have. So here, let's see. Okay, for part A, find the time in London when it is 11:15 in Brunei Darussalam. So you're going to find the time for London. So you know that London is 7 hours behind Brunei Darussalam. So you just have to write it down back. So London is 7 hours behind Brunei Darussalam. Okay, so you can see here, because 1900 in Brunei is 1200 in London. So what we're going to do is, when you know that it is behind, so you have to backtrack, or you have to subtract from Brunei Darussalam's time. So the Brunei Darussalam is 11:55. So you are going to find what is the time in London. So you have to subtract by 7 hours. So when you try to solve this out, 55 is still there, but 11 minus 7, it will be 4. So this is actually 0455, or you can say that it is 4:55 in London local time. Okay, now let's begin with B. A flight from London departs at 0940 local time. Okay, so you're starting from London right now. So the non-stop flight takes 14 hours 32 minutes. So find the time in Brunei Darussalam when it arrives. So what you're going to do is, you have to do it like on the first part, which is going to tell the time in terms of London local time and Brunei local time. So what we're going to do first is to find out what is the time when it arrives in London. So you're starting from 0940, right? And you have to add 1432, right? So just add 1432. Okay, so here you just have to proceed with it. So 40 plus 32 is 72, and 9 plus 14, it will be 23. Now here you don't have minutes in 72, so you have to subtract this one by 60, and you will add 1 to the hour. So your answer will be 2412. So 2412, it doesn't exist, but it is beyond, after 23 is 24. So 24 is not actually the real time. The actual time, it will be 0012, which is at 12 a.m. So what you are going to do is, this is actually the time of the landing in terms of the London time, but when you want to find in Brunei time, you have to use it, and you have to add or subtract. So here Brunei is 7 hours ahead London, so you have to add 7 to it. So the arrival time in Brunei Darussalam, it will be 0712, or you can say it is 7:12 a.m. in Brunei. So basically that's it for the time zone, and remember the aspect of converting times between hours and hours a minute. If it's given as decimal, as long as you can break down the numbers, that should be fine. So I think that's it. That's all for this topic. I hope it's easy to understand. So with that, thank you very much, and see you next time.